Not long ago, I made a video on how to let go of what no longer serves you, and it really struck a chord with so many of you. I was blown away by your responses and realized that a lot of us are feeling weighed down by the unnecessary. But in a world that glorifies doing more, quitting can feel like failure, right? We're taught to hold on to everything, commitments, relationships, and habits, even when they no longer serve us. So today, I am going to share something just a little more personal, 12 specific things that I quit to simplify my life. Now, these changes weren't all easy, but they have had a huge impact. It's really helped me to create more time and space and peace. So for the purposes of this video, I have grouped them into 4 key areas: habits and mindsets, time drains, negative influences, and unhealthy patterns. So if you are ready to simplify your life, then keep watching. Now, if you've joined me here on YouTube before, then welcome back. But if you are new to my channel, then welcome. I'm Dr. Kim Foster, and I'm an MD turned coach and wellness expert. And I was a family doctor for 20 years before leaving the healthcare system to pivot to wellness. And I am so glad that you have found me here on YouTube. Now let's get into the 12 things that I quit to simplify my life. Let's start with habits and mindsets. So these can be some of the hardest things to quit because they are so deeply ingrained in how we live. So the first one is perfectionism. I used to believe that if I wasn't doing something perfectly, it wasn't worth doing at all. And that mindset was exhausting. Letting go of perfectionism and embracing the idea that good enough is truly good enough changed everything. Now I try to focus on progress over perfection. For example, I used to spend hours tweaking small details in my work that honestly no one else would even notice. Now I ask myself, is this good enough to get the job done? And then I move on. It's super liberating. The second thing that I quit in this category of habits and mindsets was people pleasing. This was a big one for me. I used to say yes to things that I didn't have time for just to keep other people happy, but constantly trying to meet everyone else's expectations drained my energy and left me with very little time for myself. I used to spend a lot of energy worrying what other people thought and seeking other people's approval. Once I stopped doing that, I was so much more free. Suddenly, I was living my life on my own terms, making decisions for myself, not for other people. As Ed Sheeran said, I can't tell you the key to success, but the key to failure is trying to please everyone. All right, so the third thing I quit to simplify my life was comparing myself to others. This is something that I think a lot of us struggle with, especially when we're on social media. We are constantly seeing other people's highlight reels and feeling like we are not doing enough. But I realized that comparing myself to others, it was only making me feel inadequate and stressed. I used to compare my own journey to other people's outward success, and of course, it would make me feel like I was completely behind. To be honest, it was making me feel miserable. I had to force myself to really break that habit, and it wasn't easy. It's still not easy. But as soon as I started making an effort to stop focusing on what everyone else was doing, I felt much more at peace with my own path. And by the way, if improving your mindset is something that you are personally working on and you want some more support with that, then I invite you to go ahead and download my free workbook called Change Your Mindset, Change Your Life. I'll go ahead and put the link in the description below and you can check it out for yourself and decide. Next, let's talk about the things that drain your time. These are the distractions and commitments that just fill up your day but don't really add value. The first one in this category, so this is number 4 on my big list of 12, is overcommitting. I used to be really guilty of saying yes to everything: extra work projects, social events, even things that just didn't align with my goals. But overcommitting only left me feeling stressed and spread way too thin. There was a time when I had committed to just so many things: meetings and social events and family obligations, all the things that other people needed from me. I barely had any time to take care of myself. It took a while, but I started setting boundaries. I had to get comfortable with saying no, politely, but firmly, and it was a game changer. Saying no is like a muscle. When you first start, it can be really challenging, but the more that you use it, the easier it gets and the stronger you get. If you need help learning how to say no, then I did upload a video entirely on this topic recently, so go ahead and check that out next. Another great way to simplify and avoid overcommitting is by using a priority filter. So ask yourself, does this align with my goals? Will this bring me joy? And if the answer is no, then you've got to just pass. Okay, let's move on to number 5, unnecessary social media. Social media can be such a time drain. It's so easy to fall into the trap of just mindlessly scrolling, and before you know it, an hour has passed or more. I quit this habit by setting strict time limits on my phone, and honestly, I haven't looked back. And I absolutely refuse to let myself look at social media before going to bed. That is a huge mistake that I used to make all the time. You just think, oh, I'll just take a little look at Instagram and see what's happening. And then I would look up and realize it's way past when I wanted to get to sleep. And what did I have to show for it? Nothing. I want you to be honest with yourself about whether or not you need to have so much social media in your life, and then take steps to limit it or quit it altogether. Moving on, number 6, which is multitasking. I used to have a bad habit of multitasking. Even though I knew it wasn't a good habit, I almost couldn't stop myself. Eventually, I did come to see that multitasking, of course, wasn't making me any more efficient. It was just making me scattered. Now I focus on just one task at a time, and I'm amazed at how much more I get done. So if you're trying to simplify your life, you definitely want to give up multitasking. All right, let's move on to negative influences. So these are the people and behaviors and thoughts that drain your energy and keep you stuck. So this brings me to number 8, which is toxic relationships. Letting go of toxic relationships was one of the hardest but most necessary things that I have ever done. If someone in your life is constantly draining your energy or bringing a lot of negativity, it's time to reevaluate that relationship. I once had a friendship that felt more like an obligation than a joy. Every time we got together, I left feeling emotionally drained. So letting go of that friendship, it created so much more space for positive relationships in my life. Danielle Kupke is a writer and mental health advocate, and this quote from her is perfect, I think. You don't ever have to feel guilty about removing toxic people from your life. It doesn't matter whether someone is a relative, romantic interest, employer, childhood friend, or new acquaintance. You don't have to make room for people who cause you pain or make you feel small. Okay, so moving on to the number 9 thing that I quit to simplify my life: negative self-talk. This was probably one of the most transformative things that I quit. Negative self-talk is so sneaky, it feels like we're just being realistic when we're criticizing ourselves or being hard on ourselves, but it's actually damaging our confidence and our mindset. There was a time when I would constantly tell myself I wasn't good enough or smart enough or capable enough. Once I started changing that inner dialogue, I felt so much more empowered and focused. I've actually been thinking about making a video specifically about this issue, so let me know in the comments below if you think that that would be useful for you. In the last section of this video, let's talk about unhealthy patterns. So these are the habits that don't serve you but can be really hard to let go of. Number 10 in my big list of 12 things is overworking. I used to think that working harder and longer hours would lead to more success. But over time, I realized that overworking was just burning me out and making me less productive. I started getting clear boundaries between work and personal time, and I found that I was not only more focused, but I also had more energy for the things that I loved outside of work. I actually uploaded a video about this recently about my personal approach to work-life balance, and so I will link it here if you are interested in watching that next. But let's move on to the number 11 unhealthy pattern that I quit. And I admit that this is a bit of a random one, but it's eating in middle of the road restaurants. So my husband and I came to this realization a long time ago. We decided that, if we're going to eat out, which we actually don't do a lot these days, but if we're going to do it, we were either going to go high or low. So here's why. In those middle ground restaurants, it's kind of like average food, but it actually ends up costing quite a bit more money than you would spend on just an average meal that you make at home. And so you come out of there with kind of a mediocre eating experience, but with a whole lot less money. So we realized that we didn't really want that middle of the spectrum experience for dining out. If we were going to go out, it was either going to be a splurge on a really great restaurant with great food and amazing atmosphere, or just get takeout or something really cheap and cheerful. To be honest, mostly we eat at home because I do like to cook and it is healthier and a lot less expensive. But if we are going to eat out, it either needs to be something that I just simply can't recreate at home because I'm not a professional chef, or it needs to be super affordable and kind of fun. Okay, enough said about that one. And that brings me to my final unhealthy pattern that I quit, which is constant worrying. This one was tough, and I have to admit that I am still on this journey, but quitting the habit of worrying about things that I can't control, this has definitely been life-changing. I realized that constantly stressing over the what ifs was only making me anxious and exhausted. I used to lie awake at night, replaying conversations or stressing about things that just might never happen. Once I recognized that worrying wasn't serving me, I made a conscious effort to let go of things outside my control. A helpful strategy is to ask yourself, is this something that I can change? And if the answer is no, try shifting your focus to something productive or practice mindfulness to bring yourself back to the present moment. Again, I did record an entire video on how to quit the habit of worrying, so I will link that here if you're interested. So those are the 12 things that I quit to simplify my life by consciously working on letting go of these habits and time drains and negative influences and unhealthy patterns. I've created more space for the things that truly matter: my health, my relationships, and my peace of mind. I encourage you to take a look at your own life and see if there is anything that no longer serves you. What could you quit to create more simplicity and focus and joy? It doesn't have to be a big or dramatic change. Small changes can make a big difference. I would love to hear from you. What resonated with you in this video? Are there things that you are ready to quit? Let me know in the comments. And just a reminder, if improving your mindset is something that you are personally working on and you want some more support with that, then be sure to click the link in the description below to download my free workbook called Change Your Mindset, Change Your Life. Also, if you're interested in more tips on simplifying and improving your life, stay tuned for the video I'm going to link next, where I talk about my process for how to let go of the things in life that are no longer serving you, because I know it is not always easy. I will see you there. Then stay tuned for my next video. No. Why did I think I was going to say that? Oh yeah, no, I do want to say that. Confusing myself. Okay. Almost there. Battery's about to die. Okay. There we go.